Neil Atkinson and John Gibbons off the back of this news that I felt the moment might have passed. It hasn't passed, John. Liverpool will be, according to FIFA, without Alisson Becker and without Fabinho for the game against Leeds United. Firmino may have been injured anyway, which also makes him being part of this absolutely mad in and of itself. I feel this is something that people are maybe sort of dozing off on a tiny little bit. It's been on the horizon and it's all going to kick off.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to Liverpool supporters, including myself, you know, it's almost an unprecedented thing, isn't it, that we're sort of going through at the moment. You know, you focus as a fan on things like transfers and injuries stuff. You know, FIFA rulings on stuff like this is not what you sort of, you know, you get into football for, but it is the reality now. It's the reality of the situation, and Liverpool might have a big decision to make here.
Well, they wouldn't have been able to play anyway because they wouldn't have been out of quarantine. If they'd have gone and sent them, they still wouldn't be able to play anyway for this one, and they'd have gone through the process of being in quarantine. You've also got a situation where those Argentinian lads weren't allowed to play by the Brazilian authorities. But this is why FIFA have got to be really careful. They're getting immersed in domestic politics. The truth of the matter is, John, had the Brazilian players gone, there would have been a group exemption for everyone coming from the United Kingdom, and then everyone would have been able to play. As it is, you've ended up in this situation where FIFA now are embroiled in this because of the Brazilians. They're now going to come to a clash with the Premier League. The whole thing is just absolutely berserk, and it just needs some common sense.
It's a mess, isn't it, as well, especially when you think of the game, you know, getting called off, you know, players getting stuff on play, you know, into a game, you know, the whole thing just seems like a complete mess, and, you know, it's conflicting interests, but, you know, people only, you know, interested in what's sort of best for them rather than the good of the game. And also the footballers, I feel sorry for the footballers, to be honest with you. They're being used, you know, as political pawns almost in this game, and they just want to play footy.
They want to play footy, but now the manager's got to try to run a training session today that possibly works around shape, prepping for the Leeds game, and he doesn't know who he can and can't pick. He doesn't know if the Premier League will en masse say no, we're going to back our boys. We said this was the case. We said COVID was a thing.
Yeah, and I hope they do. I hope the Premier League stand firm on this. I think that's the only way forward. I don't think teams maybe can make sort of individual decisions on it really, because you know there's too much risk, whereas if the Premier League decide they're going to stand firm on it, then there's maybe a hope. But I think there's a lot more to come on this. I think it's a big 24 hours, but like you say, Jurgen's got a team to prepare, and I bet he's absolutely fuming.
Be absolutely livid. Possibly the only person madder than him could be me. This has been absolutely in the post when everyone's panicking about Harvey Elliott being sent home with a thigh strain. It's like no lads, there's complex political arrangements here. We should be focusing on them. We will be focusing on them TAW live tomorrow, 4 p.m. through all the channels as a live and released as quickly as possible afterwards as a podcast as well. Everything that you need all the way through, always with the Anfield Wrap. Subscribe.